Americans. And quite frankly, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted of defending you, defending your administration, defending the mantle of change that I voted for, and deeply disappointed with where we are right now.
The true engine of economic growth will always be companies like Solyndra.
The news isn't good for President Obama, but it's even worse for taxpayers. Wealthy donors with ties to Solyndra give Obama hundreds of thousands of dollars. What does Obama give them in return? $500 million in taxpayer money to help his friends at Solyndra, a business the White House knew was on a path to bankruptcy, but loaned them the money anyway. And when the government found out that Solyndra couldn't make its payments, the administration changed the terms of the loan to let Solyndra continue taking taxpayer money. Now, Solyndra's bankrupt, and taxpayers are stuck with the bill. What's worse? The Obama administration has just approved another $1 billion in loans to solar companies who also donated money to Democrats, including one in Harry Reid's home state of Nevada. Obama's investments have lost, but now he's doubling down on his bad bet, risking billions of taxpayer dollars to help his political donors. Is this the change we're supposed to believe in?
The lobbyists, the special interests, they write the checks and you get stuck with the bill. They get the access while you get to write a letter. They think they own this government, but we're here today to take it back.
And I realize the president is very concerned about his reelection, as all presidents going toward a second term are. But this is not a time in our country where we can afford to worry about our elections nearly as much as we can the country. And this was not a time for, in my opinion, political cowardice. I believe that this budget misses the mark dramatically because we're still going further into debt, massively.
It is the terminology that we use in Washington of primary balance is a little confusing,
it's because I believe it's dishonest.
I have to take issue with your characterization of the budget. I don't agree that it's a budget that has the flaws.
Okay, then answer me this: what percentage of total spending over the 10 years did you decrease?
Well,
what percentage of total spending did you decrease in this budget?
I mean, we reduce. Obviously, there's a lot of different categories of spending.
Total spending, just total spending.
The reason I'm resisting just accepting the frame.
How about
it's
less than 1 penny out of every dollar?
But it's important to unpack what's driving spending.
I asked the CBO director that question, and that's what he said. But it's less than 1 penny.
Desperately all across the country.
What about a poverty agenda, Mr. President? What about a poverty agenda for all classes?
To what degree do you regret the administration's decision to call this recovery summit?
I don't regret the notion that we are moving forward, but because of the steps that we've taken. And I'm going to have a press conference next week where, after you guys are able to hear where we're at, we'll be able to answer some specific questions. But the key point I'm making right now is that the economy is moving in a positive direction. Jobs are being created. They're just not being created as fast as they need to, given the big hole that we experienced. And we're going to have to continue to work with Republicans and Democrats to come up with ideas that can further accelerate that job growth. I'm confident that we can do that. And the evidence that we've seen during the course of this summer and over the course of the last 18 months indicate that we're moving in the right direction. We just have to speed it up. All right? Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, there's major fallout today from a widely criticized U.S. operation aimed at tracing the flow of illegal weapons into Mexico. NBC's Justice correspondent Pete Williams joins me now with the details. I believe a big resignation. What can you tell me?
Right. Two big changes here, Chuck. This has involved something called Fast and Furious, which was an effort by ATF to try to trace the flow of illegal guns from the U.S. into Mexico. And what they did was they would watch these illegal buyers purchase guns in the U.S. and then take the guns into Mexico. But agents were instructed not to try to stop the guns because the theory was that you would see how the system worked. Well, it went awry. Thousands of guns, nearly 2,000 weapons ended up in Mexico. and 2 of them were found at the scene in December of last year where a U.S. Border Patrol agent was killed in a shootout. It was widely criticized. There have been a number of hearings on this in Congress, and today the man in charge of ATF, the acting director, Kenneth Melson, was reassigned to a policy job at the Justice Department. And out in Arizona, the U.S. attorney, the top federal prosecutor there, Dennis Burke, has resigned. Senior Justice Department official says, in essence, that the Attorney General Eric Holder had lost confidence in the 2 of them and that he thought a fresh start was what ATF needed here. So this is the latest fallout over this operation that everybody at the Justice Department now concedes was a mistake.
The President has directed us to take action to fight these cartels, and Attorney General Holder and I are taking several new and aggressive steps as part of the administration's comprehensive plan. Those steps include the following details. DOJ's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is increasing its efforts by adding 37 new employees in 3 new offices, using $10 million in Recovery Act funds, and redeploying 100 personnel to the southwest border in the next 45 days to fortify its Project Gunrunner, which is aimed at disrupting arms trafficking between the United States and Mexico. ATF is doubling its presence in Mexico itself, from 5 to 9 personnel working with the Mexicans specifically to facilitate gun tracing activity which targets the illegal weapons and their sources in the United States.
We have 2 Border Patrol agents who are dead, who were killed by guns that were allowed, as far as we can tell, to deliberately walk out of gun shops under the program often called Fast and Furious. This program, as you know, and the President's been asked about it, you've been asked about it, allowed for weapons to be sold to straw purchasers, and ultimately many of those weapons are today in the hands of drug cartels and other criminals. When did you first know about the program, officially I believe called Fast and Furious? To the best of your knowledge, what date?
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
Now that you've been briefed on it, the President has said on March 22nd that you didn't authorize it. Did your Deputy Attorney General, James Cole, authorize it?
I'm sorry, the
Deputy Attorney General, James Cole?
Did he? I didn't hear. Did he?
Did the Deputy Attorney General authorize it?
My guess would be no. Mr. Cole, I don't think was in the. I don't think he was in the department at the time that operation started.
But he's been aware of it much longer.
Been aware of it much longer
than you have, since you've only been aware of it a few weeks. How about the head of the criminal division,
sure
Lanny Brewer? Did he authorize it?
I'm not sure whether Mr. Brewer authorized it. I mean, you have to understand the way in which the department operates. Although there are operations, this one has gotten a great deal of publicity.
Yeah, there are dead Americans as a result of this failed and reckless program. So I would say that it hasn't gotten enough attention, has it, Mr. Attorney General?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's an investigation that is underway.
We believe that he was aware of it much earlier than he said in his testimony and questioning before Judiciary Committee. In follow-up, it became pretty clear, and in most of the follow-up was done by Jason Chase as an original source. But, President knew about it apparently before Eric Holder. According to Eric Holder, certainly, there were things in which he was supposed to be on the call, but somebody from his boss that occurred before that time. So there's those sort of questions, but we're not, since the President said that neither he nor Eric Holder authorized it, and Eric Holder said he didn't know about it till just a week before the hearing. That can be worked out over time, whether that's right. Lanny Brewer, who was responsible on the criminal side for authorizing many of these things, and a host of other people, and some of it's in our reports. The balance will be in releases in the next few days. There are a host of emails where the distribution list goes to the top levels of justice. Understand, Fred, we're not presuming that in every case the principal person there understands it. What we're saying is that each of these offices at the highest levels were broadcast or emailed or in the distribution, and effectively In some cases, there's a signature either on behalf of that individual or even their own signature. So it's a long answer to say, yes, we're confident in everyone at the highest levels. Are we confident that Eric Holder knew it much earlier? No. Did he know it earlier than he testified? Absolutely.